And as a result of that, we have appointed our negotiating team. And of course, our team, who I've introduced earlier on, is Che Wilson, Richard Steven, Tama Potaka, and Tracy Hero. They have a particular role to play in this part of the process of negotiating our settlement. But just as a reminder that all the decisions relating to settlement come back to the trust, and the trust are the ones who make those final decisions moving forward with our agreement in principle. This is a opportunity now for you to meet, if you haven't already, our negotiators. Well, at least 3 of them for today. And so what I'd like to do is hand the raka over to our negotiators to introduce themselves and maybe even give us a little bit of their thinking behind strategy in their negotiations. And on the list there, we'll go through that list with you, Che, as a starter.
Pai anō tēnā katoa tātou I roto I tēnei rā. E mi kaua tu ana, tēnā koutou, kia ora katoa tātou. Kia ora everybody, it's awesome to be here. It's truly a privilege. As you've heard, my name is Che Wilson. My father is Willie Wilson, and my grandfather is Rangitapu Wilson, who was the son of Ngā Perapine. I want to just, as part of the introduction, just do a big mihi and thank you. I've been part of a iwi negotiation already with our neighbours, with our Ngāti Rangi side, and to see the amount of work that everybody's done is not only impressive, but you've made our job way easier because of the amount of work. So I want to send a big mihi, can share a bit more after the introductions. Tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou.
Tama.
Nā tātou katoa, e hui nei, e whakakotai nei, mā te tinana, mā te karutitiro, mā te taringa whakarongo. He uri au, ngā iwi katoa o mōkai pātea, me ngā hapu maha, toko maha hoki o te rohe pōtai nei. I tupu ake au ki roto o Ruapihu, ka tai ka Waimari ki te hoki mai ki roto o Rangitike, ki konei tupu ake ai, ki rāta, me tērā taone nunui o te ao haurewa. Areira, tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you, Tuku, for our introduction and connecting us with our whanaunga on the webinar. I'm used to Zooms and Teams, so webinars are all brand new for me. Coming from Auckland, I'm not acquainted with all this IT. Many of you will know my father, Tawaiti Pehi Tāne, aka Peri Potaka, is a notorious card player and raffle organiser. And he was fortunate on his father's side to be an uri of Tawaiti Potaka and his wife Meretine Kumaroa, and further back Utuku Potaka and Ora Te Oiroa. He was named after his grandfather and also his great-grandfather. On the more beautiful and contributory side of my whakapapa, Tabu Kaipua, my mother, was Joanna James, and while she was born and bred on her Taranaki side, Ngāru Hine and Taranaki Tūturu, she is the daughter of Sina Chase, my grandmother, who is the daughter of Rota Chase and Atamahupi Robinson. Rota Chase was the son of Kira Chase and Thomas Chase, the Pene and Te Raro lines of Mokai Pātea. It's an absolute privilege to be here and to hopefully reciprocate the love, tautoko and support of my parents and uncles and aunties, Uncle Utuku, and the uncles and aunties from Rata Marae, where I spent a quality time mowing lawns and drying dishes. It's also fantastic that some of the skills and knowledge and experience can support Tracy Richard and Che in the mahi ahead of us. Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Kia ora koutou te whānau. I'm just having a quick look down the list of participants, and I'm pretty sure I know just about all of you. If you don't know me, that's your bad luck, to be honest. But a huge mahi out to everybody actually that's been part of this journey that we've been on for a number of years. I never ever thought for my own self that I would ever be in this situation, but I'm proud to be alongside some dynamic whānau as a negotiator. Mōkai Pātea is a mōwhango. This place is special in all of our hearts. I have lived here for 56 years. 6 weeks out of that is the longest period of time that I've actually lived outside of this rohe. So I feel I have a huge connection to everybody, but particularly with my Ngāti Whiti hat on, Ngāti Tamakōpiri, of course, and then our Hauratu whānau, and also for myself and my son, who has Hinamani Ngāti Owake whakapapa. I just want to acknowledge that side and the learning that's coming to me personally within that, and to our uplifting and to whakapakari that side of us as well. So a huge mahi to everybody. What can I bring? Well, this isn't an individual thing. It's about what we bring together as a team together. And I just feel very fortunate to be alongside people like Tama, to be alongside people like Che, and of course to be alongside people like Richard. So just to say to you that I coined this little bit of a phrase that these two on the outside of the dynamic duo. And honestly, the first 10 minutes of sitting in a hui with both of them has just been awesome, because their minds are just popping. And so for Richard and I that have lived here, we're not the dynamic duo, we're the durable duo is the name that's been given to us. And so just a huge mahi, of course, out to our Waitangi Claims Trust, to Uruku, and the mahi that he has, he's led the team, to all of the trustees. And it has been a hard yakka for all of us, but we're now to this part in the process of negotiations, and you can be rest assured that the four negotiators around the table will have no problem whatsoever having the big conversations that need to be had with the Crown, and ensuring that we will do the best that we can collectively for our people. So a huge mahi out to everybody, and thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Now, in reality, I think we have a formidable negotiating team, a team that covers all the aspects that we need included in such a team, right through from, of course, from Richard's knowledge in our tribal histories, our whakapapa, and of course our grievances, which he has been an integral part of for the last 3 or so decades, four decades, right through to the likes of Tracy, who's been on the ground, who is on the ground with our people, and has got, to a degree, the ear of our people, which is useful in this type of environment. And of course, the experience that both Che and Tama bring with having already negotiated a settlement. Che and Tama currently involved in Ngāi Tai and their negotiations as well. So they bring, as I say, significant amount of knowledge and experience, hence the reason why I say it's a formidable force. This might be a time, if there are any questions from attendees, feel free to send those through, but it might be a time perhaps if the negotiating team might be able to give us one or two insights on what their thinking might be at present.
Well, kia ora tātou. I think one of the most important things that certainly myself, probably Che, have noticed and observed since arriving 3 minutes ago is that there's been an extraordinary amount of work. And Matua Che has announced that and communicated that to everyone online and here in the team that are here today. And that really lays a really solid foundation and a credible foundation for building a negotiation strategy and building negotiation tactics, because there are a wide range and diversity of opportunities within our rohe and the mahi that we're doing. What we can observe as well is that there are some, we describe them as big rocks as part of the negotiation strategy that are starting to become more observable or more visible. Things like the dock whenua that's currently being looked after by DOC on our behalf, and also the defence lands whenua that's been looked after by the Ministry of, the Defence Force. And there are a lot of other, let's say, commercial opportunities that are directly related to Crown-owned land within the rohe portai of Mokai Pātea. So we have to become very innovative and creative in the types of solutions that we can present back to the trust and ultimately the iwi members, the 4 iwi members, the members of the 4 iwi, to consider and to analyse and to say, hey, that's a great idea or not a great idea. So that's some of the initial observations. Is that great material to work from. There's some real clear Crown players in the region that have some assets that are unusual. There are a couple of big rocks out there, things like lands looked after by Defence and looked after by the Crown, and also the river and the waterways. And then there are, of course, a lot of what we would describe as non-contentious issues that we're going to say, well, this is what it is. These are non-contentious, and then just get on with it. And let's focus on some of these more contentious issues that might take a bit more time and resource in order to navigate solutions. And we might find that some of those solutions are adjacent to a strict form of treaty settlement.
I suppose just to add to that is that
the big dogs.
might need to mute yourself. I think the most important thing to note is that the Crown still does the cookie cutter service. And so we have to make sure that we work hard to navigate that cookie cutter service so that we get something that's distinctively about Mokai Pātea. We've already had them present their cookie cutter stuff and almost word for word from what I heard about 4 years ago. And as a result of hearing that, I then got the first fine out of the negotiators for being naughty in a negotiation meeting and upsetting the crowd, which I enjoyed. But seriously, there's a heap, as I said earlier, there's a heap of work that's been done. And as a result of that, we're going to be able to work and navigate the minefield that the Crown puts up so that we can still get something that looks and feels like us.